up, guys? This is Hanx-Saber giving you guys an X-Saber deck profile of the July 2015 format. And this is the very first deck profile where I get to give you a deck profile with a Trishula in it, outside of my my Ritual Beast deck profile. But really, this is a deck that can abuse Trishula, and I really like my lists for my here in September. Of course, the last list I gave you was my last pure X-Saber deck I gave you was in June. I gave you the Saber Shadal deck profile. That's a completely different deck. So I'm really happy to give you guys this X-Saber deck, and I hope you guys enjoy it here in the July 2015 format here in the month of September. So let's get into it. So there's actually a card that just came out in a recent set, Clash of Rebellions, and it actually is a hand trap that many people would kind of underestimate, but it actually gives some tremendous support to this deck, and without people even realizing it much. So we'll get into that a little bit, but first I'll get into the standard X-Saber deck lineup, and I actually changed it quite a bit, so pay attention to this. We're going to play 3 copies of course, double X-Saber Dark Soul. Still a great card. Again, still trying to abuse this card a lot, and still trying to get searches off as many times as possible. So again, double X-Saber Dark Soul, very important in the deck. And of course, Ember's Blade. Ember's Blade is probably the most important searcher in this deck now with the new support, but we'll get into that again a little bit later. But the fact that you can play Chicken Game in this deck, you take no damage if your life points are lower, which most times are not if you're paying 1,000 to draw a card. So just keep in mind that you're not taking head-on damage from X-Saber Ember's Blade, so you can voluntarily smash into stuff and thin your deck and keep on getting your monsters out. And of course, Gaiam's Emergency Call the back into the play. So the fact that Chicken Game is a thing and helps you out so much in this deck is quite nice. So we're playing Ember's Blade for that. And we're playing 3 copies of double X-Saber Bogart Knight. So Bogart Knight is actually something kind of interesting in this deck. It actually, you know, of course, Hyunlai is the best card, but we're not playing its tag team partner anymore in Pashul. It's actually a card that I had a hard time cutting, but I came to the realization that TG Striker is such a better card than Pashul, because I know that Pashul can't be destroyed, but the fact that TG Striker can special summon if you don't have any monsters on the field and your opponent does, so it's like a Cyber Dragon, and then really we're special summoning the other guys that we're kind of dead in our hands. So in past, I would always normal summon Bogart Knight, special summon Pashul, make a Hyunlai, but past Hyunlai we really didn't have anything else. So I wanted to make sure I could make bigger plays, and so I felt like TG Striker was a better option, and so now we're specialing like the brick cards like Ember's Blade, Dark Soul from our hands, so we don't brick as much. So we're playing that. And then actually the biggest thing in my whole deck, like right now, is I'm only playing 2 copies of double X-Saber Full Helm Knight. So I'm only playing 2 copies of Full Helm Knight because of the fact that this card is just a power play card, and I wanted to make the deck a little bit more consistent and a little bit geared towards the meta. And so I fear I kind of, you know, based this whole thing off of the fact that there's really no point in running 3. 3 is like very accessible and it's very easy, but I had to find room for some of the newer support, so I had to cut the Spell Strikers. And once I cut the Spell Strikers, I came to the realization that this card would be breaking in our hands a lot more, because the old play was banishing a spell, special summoning Spell Striker, normal summon a level 3 overlay for X-Saber Invoker, and Madolcha X-Saber Invoker would special summon a level 4. So now you would have 2 X-Sabers on the field to make Full Troll an easy card to play. However, I felt that Spell Striker wasn't in the deck anymore, so I actually cut down Full Helm Knight to 2. Full Troll to 2 for that same reason. So we're playing that at 2 now, and a card I recently added back in, I cut it for a little while, was Full Helm Knight. I'm only playing at 1 now. I know I played this at 2 for a long time, but I didn't really feel the need to run this at 2. In fact, I cut it for a long time, but I do want to run this at 1 because of the fact it gives us access to Trishula, and because of the fact that it also helps us make different things like Barkion and stuff like that. So because you can't make Barkion with Bogart Knight, so just something to keep in mind. So there's that. And TG Striker, we are playing at 3 now. So the Striker line has become from 2 of each to just 3 of the TG strikers. So I used to play in my old list. I used to play my last 2 lists. I played 2 of 2, 2 spell striker, 2 TG striker. I cut the spell striker. I'm playing 3 TG striker now. So I think it just works a lot better. I'm not playing Reinforced Truth anymore. I'm just based off, you know, these grabbing these off my rota. So my only rota targets are TG striker and Full Helm Knight. So I really just based this off getting it off rota, and so TG striker is really good for that. And then if you guys wanted to tech in a TG Werewolf, you could, because it does search, Striker does search, and so I don't really feel the need for it, but if you guys want to try, you can go ahead. So there's that. So anyway, guys, that is the most of the monsters. There's still 2 more monsters left to go on 2 of each copy. So here is the card that just got released in our game and actually helps this deck out quite a lot. And that card is Retaliating Sea. So Retaliating Sea, otherwise known as Counteracting Sea or Counterattacking Sea in the OCG, is a card that reads like this. During another player's turn, when your opponent activates a spell card that would include an effect that special summons a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. It is summoned this way. While this card is face up on the field, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead, which is great because you know, it's just so many things rely on the graveyard. And also, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one Earth insect type monster with 1500 attack or less from your deck to your hand, except Retaliating Sea. And so the next card that we are playing is Max Sea. Of course, to search off Retaliating Sea. However, also searchable off Retaliating Sea is X-Saber Emmer's Blade. So Emmer's Blade is probably like the biggest card that you can search off Retaliating Sea, and the fact that you can like draw this card and you know you have access ability to sending this card to the graveyard, then you can search this, send these to the graveyard, that one, and that one, and now you could search this Dark Soul and that one. In case you're taking no damage because you have Chicken Race, which I'll basically introduce in a little while, but now you've already thinned your deck by 5 cards. And so the fact that you can play Retaliating Sea not only to hurt the Necros matchup, the Shadal matchup, but also to help your own engine and to advance your own game state is quite critical. So we are playing the 2 Retaliating Sea and the 2 Max Sea just because Max Sea is such a great card in the meta right now. So we're playing that, and it's also searchable by Retaliating Sea. So there's that. And then for the spells, we're playing 3 Tanky. So I felt that Tanky was just a necessity in this deck to play 3 because of the fact, even though I cut Red Jagura, which is like something like that you guys probably wouldn't notice, I actually cut Red Jagura because of the fact that I didn't find the Gutham's Full Trove Loop all too important in the deck, because it was something that would make our plays a lot better when we had it, but make our brick hands a lot worse. And of course, again, we're not about that. So we play 3 Tanky. It really helps our search power quite a bit. I think this is the first time I'm playing 3 Tanky since I played the Fire Fist engine in this deck. So that was like a year ago. So I am playing the Tankies again at 3, and then I'm playing the 2 Rota. So again, I switched this back from 3 Rota and 2 Tanky to 3 Tanky and 2 Rota because of the fact that we don't really need our Rotas right now. We really need our Bogart Knights. That's our most important card because it gets rid of our brick hands and turns into something bigger, possibly High on Light, possibly something else. But we do play that, and so two Rota. I'm playing 2 enemy controller, so I was playing 3 enemy controller. I couldn't find a 3rd gold, but I found Soul Charge was a better substitute for the 3rd anyway. So enemy controller is actually really important in the game. I actually feel that it's really good in the meta. People saying it's not. It's actually really good because of the fact that like so many decks require having 1 monster, and if you can take that monster by sacking your Retaliating Sea or your Dark Soul or whatever, you can like just take their stuff. So you know, if you're going first against Turbo Towers rather, you can set a Dark Soul, set that pass, and what they do is they're going to Pendulum summon 3 Pendulum monsters, and if you can take one of them, that will hinder their game state because now they cannot make that first turn towers, and now they have 2 1800 sticks that don't really do much for them. So the fact that you can take them, the fact that you can take your opponent's Dante before they mill, the fact that you can take your opponent's Valkyrius before they sack, and before they tribute to draw is quite nice. So I really feel that enemy controller is actually a necessity in the game right now. I think it's a good attack in Burning Abyss, which I'll be trying in my Burning Abyss deck as well. But I really like enemy controller right now, and I feel like it's an underrated card. So we are playing 2 enemy controller. So again, another card that hasn't been in my deck for about a year, but I reintroduced it because the meta has kind of gone full circle. So I play that, and then I play the 2 Pot of Duality. So Pot of Duality is a card that I really needed my searchers early on in the game, and I didn't really need this. I never had the special the first turn in the game. I always don't want a special the first turn in the game. Actually, I want to set my Dark Soul and pass. And so the fact that we can, you know, either get our Dark Soul or our Econ off of the Pot of Duality is quite nice. And so there's that for that. So that's our 2 pods and our 1 Soul Charge. So Soul Charge is pretty important because we're only playing 1 X-Saber tuner now. So it makes Gotham's Emergency Call less good because we're playing 3 TG Strikers. We're not playing any Petual. So the fact that we can Soul Charge our Strikers is quite nice. And it just helps make Petual plays for days. So we're going to play that. So there's most of the spells. We still have some spells to go. So we're going to play 3 copies of Chicken Game. So Chicken Game is a new field spell. If you guys don't know what it does, it's the card that's played in Chicken Game FDK. It's played in Exodia. It's played in every kind of turbo deck, turbo towers. And it reads like this. So the player with the lowest life points takes no damage. Once per turn during the main phase, the turn player can pay 1,000 life points, then activate one of these effects. Draw 1 card, or destroy this card. Your opponent gains 1,000 life points, and neither player can respond to this. So basically, you can activate this card, pay 1,000 to draw. Now your opponent would usually have the opportunity to use it during their turn to either decide to pay 1,000 to draw a card or pay 1,000 to destroy it so you can use it the next turn. However, we don't want to give our opponent that luxury. And you see in my other deck profiles, when I play Chicken Game, I play another field spell. Now, I'm not playing another field spell in this deck. However, you have access to double X-Saber High on Lie. And High on Lie is so good at popping anything that you want on the field, including pendulums, including back row, and including your own Chicken Game. So the fact that you can pop your own Chicken Game before your opponent has a chance to use it is quite nice. And it actually helps us out a lot because it also states that we take no damage if we have lower life points, which we find ourselves having, you know, that situation in a lot of situations. So again, the fact that we can clash our Ember's Blades head on to a bigger stick and not take any damage while still thinning our deck is a very, very, very good thing. So we are playing a 3 Chicken Game. And then we're playing, of course, to search the Chicken Game, we are playing actually 2 Terraforming. So you guys might think this is kind of overkill, but I actually don't think that is at all because Chicken Game is such an important thing to get in our deck. Not only to thin our deck, not only for draw power, but just to help us with our game state, to help us with our Ember's Blade plays. Or even Dark Soul, because you are taking no damage, so you can just head-on attack with Dark Soul. So there's that. And then I'm just playing 3 Massive Removal cards in the spell lineup, in the form of 2 Dark Hole, 1 Raigeki. So that's our spell lineup. That's our whole spell lineup. So quite a bit of spells. And then for the traps, I'm playing 2 Gotham's Emergency Call and 1 Torrential Tribute. I feel like Torrential is like the best trap right now. You could play Bottomless, you could play something else, but I feel Torrential is the best. And then of course Gotham's Emergency Call, you know what that does, so it's quite nice. But again, it's not as good as it used to be because we're only playing 1 X-Saber tuner in the form of Full Helm Knight, so play it at your own risk, I guess. So there's 3 traps, so that's it. Now for the extra deck, as I can get into order now. So anyway, for the extra deck, we are going to start off with 2 copies of double X-Saber High on Lie. So High on Lie for our 6s is good. Obviously, we're going to be using this to pop our own Chicken Game. We're going to be using this to pop opponent's back row against pendulum decks like Ignites, like Cleforts. We're going to use it to pop their pendulums. There's so many different ways you can use this card. Quite nice. So we're going to play High on Life for that. The only level 7 for the X-Sabers, at least, I'm going to play is X-Saber Your Balm. So Your Balm is basically just my favorite card. I've said it in past videos. It is the card that I saw on Tag Force. Excuse me, in Tag Force, and it just inspired me to play Yu-Gi-Oh! In real life. And this is about like 3-4 years ago. I just really like the artwork of the card. It also has a pretty good effect that says, when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent while they have 4 more cards in their hand, you can place 1 random card from their hand onto the top of their deck. And so the fact that you can do that is quite nice. Card effects like that, it hinders your opponent's game state and actually leaves them quite, in a bad position to get back. So I'm only playing Your Balm though. I'm not playing Sauza, which is always considered the best 7 of the 2, but I'm not playing Sauza, it's a personal preference. And then I'm playing 1 Gothams. Gothams is actually easier to make in this list than it was, so we're playing Gothams for that. And then for the other non-X-Saber Synchros, we are going to play one copy of Naturia Beast. Naturia Beast is such a blowout card, and it's easy to make in our deck because all you have to do is search Rhoda, special summon TG Striker, and normal summon our Dark Soul, preferably our Dark Soul, or Emmer's Blade, or whatever, and we can make that. So we do play the Beast. I'm also playing Barkion again. Barkion is a card that I could summon Retaliating C, or I could special summon TG Striker first, normal summon Retaliating C, Synchro for Barkion, which is requires 2 Earths, 1 tuner, 1 non-tuner. And then you get the effect of C to search out Emmer's Blade and to have that for the next turn. And in fact, of course, the opponent's traps are turned off. Very, very nice. Then I'm playing one copy of Black Rose Dragon. I'm playing Black Rose simply because of the fact that we are playing another non-tuner and the fact that we're tying C is a level 4. We're playing Full Knight and the fact of a level 3. And there is so many different things that you could do between your Synchros and to make a Black Rose. So having a Black Rose in the arsenal is quite nice again. So there's that. And then one Scrap Dragon, our own level 8. So that's quite nice. I mean, if we have like a TG Striker and a level 6 or something to that effect, we can make it. So I'm only playing that. And then, of course, we are playing the Trishula, Dragon of the X-Saber. So nice to have this back in the lineup. So we are playing that. So those are our non-X-Saber Synchros. Then for our Xyz, so the Xyz is kind of interesting. We are playing the 3 rank 3s in the fact of X-Saber and Invoker, Medolce X-Saber and Invoker. We are playing Wind Up Zen Mains, and we are playing Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss. Why am I playing these 3? Well, I feel like these 3 are very important. Because of the fact that it's still possible to make X-Saber Invoker out of the extra deck if you have 2 level 3s. Of course, it would be harder without the Spell Strikers, but you can still do it. And it would help, again, unclog your full trolls from your hand to special summon them, so that's very good. Zen Maidens, if you have 2 level 3s and you want to get out of a sticky situation, always the best option. So we are playing Zen Maidens, and finally Dante. So Dante is the most interesting one out of the 3. The reason why I play Dante is the fact that a lot of times I did draw this card, Gom's Emergency Call, and I have no X-Sabers in the grave. So if I have like if I'll have like a Emmer's Blade already on the field, and say I have this in hand, and I have like a Bogart Knight and a I'll say like a Dark Soul in hand, and this is not too situational. It happens a lot. So basically, what would happen is, I would have no tuners, and I would be like, well, what do I do now? And so I would, I would normal summon the Bogart Knight and special summon the Dark Soul. I would overlay for Dante, and I would have the ability to to send cards from their deck to the graveyard to set up the Gom's Emergency Call, which you have in your hand. So, I mean, it's just a little bit, it's just a little thing that you can do. Also, if you have this set up, you can also overlay 2 level 3s for, Invoker, and then make another, another Bogart Knight and overlay for a rank 4. So, again, I just really like playing these cards. I feel like you don't need Dante by any means, play a Goyo or something like that instead, but the fact that I had it, and the fact that it does contribute to our game state in certain situations, and I like to play out of those situations. I don't like just to scoop. So I like to play cards that almost bridge the gap, which is not nice. So that's nice. So for the only rank 4s, I play one Castell and one Exit Knight, one to blow back stuff and one to pop the whole field. I feel like Exit Knight and Castell both are like the most powerful rank 4s in the game. And then for the final Xyz I play is the one Castellar Petomali M7. So M7 was the star of the Dragoon Doll deck profile, and it's the star of the X-Saber deck profile. It is the card that says basically if you have a field of M7 overlaid with a Fall Troll and any X-Sabers on the field, say Emmer's Blade and Dark Soul again, and you have 2 6s in the form of maybe a Fall Troll, and I'll throw and we'll even throw in a High Unlie in there. So we have a High Unlie and a Fall Troll. We overlay for the Ptolemy M7. Oh, we can see, get that in a shot there. We overlay for the Ptolemy M7, detach the Fall Troll, add back the Fall Troll, special back the Fall Troll, and go from there. So, again, it's just a great card. It gives you like a second turn in this deck, so that's quite nice. So, just a great card. Just a great overall card. So, anyway, guys, that's the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really put a lot of time and thought into this deck. It's not a deck that I just make up. It's a deck that I put a lot of thought and consideration into. It's a deck that I only will make once every 3 months, and the 3 months go by actually pretty quickly, I have to say. I didn't realize it was like 4 months since I made an X-Saber deck profile, literally since June, so, I mean, it's been a while, but I think you guys enjoy my deck profiles. I put a lot of thought into it, and I think that Retaliating Sea is just a thing I found out, like, this past week, how it searched. I thought it searched a sea monster. It actually just searches, an insect, earth insect with 1500 lower attack, which, of course, Emerald's Blade follows all those restrictions, and so, it's quite nice. So, anyway, guys, this has been another Saber Select X-Saber deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Click the subscribe button to become a Saber Selectioner, and like the video and all that crazy shiz, and catch you guys later. Peace, guys. Deuce. Don't forget to friend me on Facebook, join my group, The Titan Takeover, as well as the Ignoble Lifestyle Facebook group, and subscribe. Thank you, guys. Peace.